I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First off, we're going to have a presentation to the council from Captain Tara S. Summers, RN, MSN, MPH, Regional Director of the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, the ATSDR, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Hello. All right. Is that okay? I know microphones are a little hard sometimes. So thank you for having us. So again, my name is Tara Summers. I'm with the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. It's a very long name, we understand. So we're a federal public health agency that does environmental health. We work in communities to help evaluate environmental exposures and then tell communities what that means for them and their health. We're a sister agency to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So our headquarters is co-located in Atlanta, Georgia with the CDC headquarters. And then we have 10 regional offices. Sorry, I have my back to you, I'm sorry. We have 10 regional offices. And ours for New England is in Boston. So I'm the regional director of the Boston, New England office. And then I have some colleagues with me from our headquarters and regional staff. So the reason we're here in Fairfield, and we wanted to tell you what we're doing, we were petitioned in 2021, so about 18 months ago. And ATSDR is really unique as a federal agency in that any community member can petition us to work on sites in their community. And when we get a petition, we have a petition evaluation process. We evaluated that petition and we decided that, yes, this is some work that ATSDR can take on. So we're in the very beginning stages of starting to bring some of that environmental data to us, where we will write a document. It's like a public health assessment, or sometimes called a health consultation. And what we do is we look at the environmental data, and that can be data from water, soil, from animals, from like deer or other animals, fish. Ooh, my paper. And then we evaluate that data and determine if we think that the amount of chemicals that people are exposed to, in this case PFAS, I think I forgot to mention PFAS, didn't I? Sorry.
I am.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, for PFAS.
I'm just setting up a record.
Sorry, that's okay. So I forgot why we're here. Yeah, so for PFAS, so what we're going to do is look at the level of PFAS in people's drinking water wells and other exposure points, like if people are eating deer or locally caught fish. And then we'll write a document and present that to the community when the document's finalized. And what we're doing here right now is since we're in the beginning of that process, we wanted to have public availability sessions where community members can come talk to us. So that's all the community members over here. And you can come talk to us too. To tell us about your experience. And because when we do a health consultation, what we really want to do is make it specific for that community so that we can make sure that we understand how exposures are happening in your community. So tomorrow we're going to be here in this building from 11 to 2 and from 5 to 8. And any community member is encouraged to come and talk to us about the work we're going to do in this community and to tell us about their experience they've had with PFAS. We're not going to take questions right now, I think, from the audience, right? Yeah, that was our, I know.
That's tomorrow.
You guys might have lots of questions. I don't know if the council has any questions you want to ask.
I just want to thank you for taking the time to come up.
Sure.
Yes, thank you very much.
We're glad we were able to come up, and I know, this is one of our first in-person meetings we've been able to do since, COVID made things more virtual, and so we're glad we're able to be here in person and meet people. It's much nicer to see people in person, I think.
And I was able to meet with Tara and her team earlier this afternoon. So if folks are not able to meet with them tomorrow during either of those times, so again, that's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.,
or 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. here at the community center. We will have their handout information available on our website, and there's contact information for them, so folks will be able to reach them and that sort of stuff, even if they can't see them tomorrow. So they'll be able to have that opportunity.
From 11 to 2 or 5 to 8, can people come in at any time during that span?
Yes, this is designed to be like not a formal presentation. We don't have much of a presentation to give yet because we haven't done the data assessment, so we don't really have any, conclusions to present to you. So at this point, we're just gathering information from the community, so people can come in anytime. It's like a drop-in session. The 4 of us will be here in one of these rooms, and you can come find us and chat with us. We're very friendly. Okay. You can come meet with us.
Thank you.
They're all
Excellent.
pretty nice.
Anybody else got any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to sneak out so you guys can have the rest of your meeting, because I don't think we have anything to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Thank you much, folks. Okay. So that moves us on to our first order of business, which is public announcements. Details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. Number 1, the first quarterly property taxes are due on September 29th, 2022, and may be processed online, over the phone, mailed, or via the drop box located at 19 Lawrence Avenue. For the November 8th, 2022 election, absentee ballots applications are available online and via phone, and absentee ballots will be available from October 11th through November 3rd. The annual Household Hazardous Waste Day will take place on Saturday, October 15th, and it will be at the Winslow Public Works Garage. Residents of Fairfield must pre-register by calling or in person at the Fairfield Town Office to participate. The Lawrence Public Library will be hosting a Halloween event on Thursday, October 27th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The Fairfield Police Department will be hosting a trunk or treat October 29th from 5 to 8 p.m. on Esklin Drive in Fairfield. Number 5, the town would like to recognize and wish a happy centenarian birthday to William J. Nye, who turned 100 on August 25th.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, yes. Fantastic. All right, second order of business. Moving into public hearings. Has the manager overview Zoom protocols to participate?
So if you are joining us this evening via Zoom and wish to participate in the public hearing process, what you need to do is go down to the reactions button and raise your hand, and you will be called on and be able to participate via Zoom with your comments at that time. And that's about it.
Okay, there was no previous emails or... All right.
Not for the public hearing
Right.
piece, no, nothing.
Number 2, to hear from the public on proposed repeal of solid waste ordinance due to the discontinued...
You missed them at first.
Number 1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, please. Thank you.
I missed number 1. To hear, okay, yeah, you're right. It's all right, just moving along. To hear from the public on proposed amendments to the public safety ordinance. I declare the public meeting open, and those that wish to speak must sign in, state name and address. Is there anyone that wishes to talk about the public ordinance? All right, there being none, I declare the public hearing closed. Now, to hear from the public on proposed repeal of solid waste ordinance due to the discontinued contract with the Penobscot Energy Recovery Company, that is PERC. I declare the public meeting open. Those that wish to speak must sign in, state name and address. Okay, there being none, I declare the public meeting closed. To hear from the public on proposed amendments to the General Assistance Ordinance, Chair. Declare the public hearing open, and those that wish to speak must sign in, state name and address. Yes.
I just have one piece. This is what you do annually, because this was not part of your workshop last week like the other two ordinances were. So if folks at home are wondering, this is just the normal annual changes to the appendices to the general assistance ordinance, which
Right.
adjusts the qualification levels for various different pieces that general assistance can pay for.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone that wishes to speak? There being none, I declare a public hearing closed. Third order of business is public comments. It's a 3-minute limit or equivalence. Members of the public may email comments to the council at info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m. day of meeting on any topic or agenda item. Items may be read aloud at this time.
I didn't have anything.
No, me.
Okay.
Hi, thank
Hi.
you for letting me speak.
Just so you're aware, and anybody who comes up to the podium, because everybody's been adjusting the microphone.
It's no-
It doesn't have anything to do with anything in this room.
Okay.
It's simply for the live broadcast, and Chad's able to make control adjustments on his end, so just speak like you normally would, and he'll be able to take care of
No,
it.
thank you.
everybody from over.
I'm coming to you to talk to you about the Wendy Dougal, sorry,
Wendy what?
Dougal,
Thank you.
D-U-G-A-L.
Thank you.
I want to talk about the issues we're having with the children in the neighborhoods that are, I've had 3 personal incidences with them where they run out in front of my car, call me very nasty names. They're going around our neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're the vulgar language where, and like I said, I've almost hit 2 of them in front of my car 2 different times. Called the police. They don't get there in time. I called 2 days ago because there were 7 of them walking down Elm Street in Fairfield, smoking, not in school because it was 9:30 in the morning. And I was able to go around the block 3 different times, be stuck in traffic, and still follow them, and no police showing up. This is not the first time this has happened. It's happened, there's several incidences. And my daughter also they walked out in front of my daughter, flipped her off, called her names, and she had 2 little children in her car. I just want to know, when are we going to be protected? When is something going to happen that these children, they obviously need help. They need someone to intervene because it's clear nothing is happening. And it's wrong for us to have to continue to put up with this and nothing be done. So I would just like to know, what is the process? What can we do? Why isn't there, some of them are not going to school. There is a house that 7 of them hang out all during school day. Why is there no truancy officer? Why are the police not going and banging on that door and saying, why aren't you in school? Where are the parents? What are we allowed to do? Because it seems to be falling on deaf ears at this point.
Okay.
Would you like to answer?
Sure.
So thank you very much, Wendy, for coming in, and I think probably a good
There are
number
others.
of you for coming in this evening. So with public comment, just so for procedural piece, this isn't a piece where we get into a debate with anything with the town council. It could potentially be put on the agenda for a future piece. But because there are so many of you here, and we've been having some internal conversations ourselves within the office, Captain Sanamon is here tonight that can hopefully help explain. They're here for the public hearing, so your timing was perfect. They're here to maybe explain what actually happens, because I think the other piece with all of this that's very frustrating is these are juveniles. So, if somebody breaks into a home that's an adult and they get arrested, chances are it's going to be in the paper, right? You're going to know they got arrested, you're going to know what happened to them, that sort of stuff. With juveniles, we don't have that process. So I think what might be helpful, and I'm hoping it will be helpful for some, is if Captain Sanamon can explain to you the process that happens with the police department when and if they are able to arrest or summons juveniles and what that process looks like. I can assure you that your police department is working extremely diligently at this juvenile issue. I have at least, in my manager's report from the chief for the month of August, there are at least 21 different incidences where children were summoned, arrested, pieces. We have put in overtime for our officers. We've had plainclothes officers. They're working as diligently as they can with this. We know that they've had conversations with the school, but we also know that if you're suspended from school, you're released from school property. So those are the pieces that happen. But if Captain Santamont could come up and just kind of explain real quickly what happens to a juvenile once they've been summoned or arrested, that might help some folks realize where we're at with some of this. Because this has actually been going on for a year, so we've been working on it since last year as well.
And now, is there a place where we can look at, you said that Chief Gould wrote things that happened in August. But are there other months that we can look at?
Yep, so the monthly report, which is a report that comes in from all of the departments, actually gets posted on the town's website.
Okay.
And it talks about what everybody does, not just the police department, but what's going on with fire and public works and the library and the town office, tax collection and general assistance and town clerk. That's right on the town's website. You can find that every month.
All right.
Okay?
Hi, I'm Captain Santamont from Fairfield Police, as she announced. Part of the process that we have when we deal with juveniles, unfortunately, it's not like with adults. With adults, I can arrest them and bring them straight to jail. If I arrest a juvenile, or any of my people arrest a juvenile,
Can you get a little closer to that microphone?
we have to contact, and I'm adjusting it. We have to contact the juvenile probation officer. The juvenile probation officer pretty much tells us what we have to do. They've had times where I wanted to bring the juvenile to jail because they're completely unruly, and the juvenile probation officer is like, no, release them to their parents. And I have to. We have no choice. So if we charge a juvenile, what happens with the paperwork? The paperwork will go to the district attorney's office, and then they give it to the juvenile probation officer. The juvenile probation officer look at the crime, all the circumstances, look at the child's history, and they decide what they're going to do at that point. It could be an informal adjustment, which means, it's almost like, being grounded at home. They might have house arrest or whatever. They abide by all the rules, and then they're good to go. They may go with actually sending it to the district attorney's office. Once the juvenile probation officer sends it to the district attorney's office, the district attorney, once again, will look at the entire case, and then they'll decide what to do. If the district attorney's office decides they are not going to proceed with charges, I can argue until I'm blue in the face, and that's the way they work. So we don't have a lot to say after the fact. Yes, we've been dealing with these juveniles a lot. We've given, I don't know how many warnings. We have to give a warning before the curfew violation, or they're not working on the sidewalk. So we have to give them a warning. We keep that documented. All my officers know these kids by their first name. We're dealing with them. We're giving them the warnings, giving them the summonses. Like I said, we made the arrest. We're working on it. If we had the solution, we'd have it taken care of, but we don't have that yet. So we're just still working with the juvenile probation office and see if we can get it resolved.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Tammy Meunier. I spoke in front of you several months ago regarding the same issue with the juveniles. At that time, I was told to continue to talk with the chief, to monitor, to document, call the police, that sort of thing. The chief stated he was working on holding parents accountable. So now here we are. Several months have gone by, and it's only escalated. I know you people get to go home at the end of the day. I know the police officers get to go home at the end of the day, but the people in this town don't, because they're coming to our homes. When will this end? This is ridiculous. We're not asking you to
take the Bloods and the Crips down. We're asking to take down 5 top people that are barely 15 years old, who are terrorizing this town. It's unacceptable, okay? And I'm going to share with you, I started a group, I'm sure all of you are aware. I was shocked. My kids are out of school. I was shocked at the amount of people. I have 35 people send me messages privately, their stories, okay, with these same kids. I'm going to share just a little bit, and I'll try to make it quick. I've got one woman whose son, she moved her son to another town to get away from this. That's terrible, okay? She told me her life has been ruined. You know why? Because her son was attacked, and nothing was done to the child that attacked her kid. This is what I'm hearing. And she installed a security system and camera system. You know what she does when she hears something in the night? She stays awake watching her cameras. You know what I'm doing these days? Staying awake watching my cameras, okay? They've come to my house. I'm gonna let you in on something. 2 of my dogs were probably poisoned last weekend by some of these kids, okay? The vet said it was marijuana toxicity. I don't have any marijuana in my house. They're fenced in area. You have to go off the street to get to that. Unacceptable, okay? We've got other people who won't walk in the parks because they're afraid of being attacked. We have the elderly people over here on Mill Island Park who won't leave and exercise anymore because they're afraid of being attacked. We have kids scared at school. When is it going to stop? When is enough enough? Because I'll tell you, this is the last time I'm coming to this town council and talk about this. And I'm not pitting you or the police department against the citizens in this town. We deserve to be safe. Children deserve to be safe. Like I said, you get to go home at the end of the day. We don't. We're dealing with it every day, in the night. And I understand. These kids, I know 6 of them who haven't been in school in 3 years. They're not homeschooled, so I don't want to hear about the homeschooling or the remote learning, that sort of thing. It's just not. It's not being done. Why aren't we getting these kids resources? I'm not saying just take them away and get rid of them and then it goes away. They need some resources. Get them in the system. I'm tired of hearing warnings. How many times are we going to warn? We've warned these kids for over a year, the same kids. Okay? They know. It's a joke. You know what I heard one of them say? I'll just go to my probation officer and I'll share my feelings. And it'll all be okay. It'll be excused. I don't want to hear where are we going from here. What are we going to do today to end this? This can be ended. These are 5 teenage kids. Come on. They don't control us. I'd like to know when we can get some answers. Has anyone told these officers that they cannot charge these kids? That's what I want to know. Or if they have to give them warnings. I'm just asking. Have they been told you have to give them warnings?
No.
They have to follow the process of the law.
I understand that. We've had a year of warnings in some charges.
No, there have been people that have been charged and arrested in some instances.
Right.
And again, so this is, but you're running dangerously close to your 3 minutes.
Yep,
so
that's okay.
But
That's okay.
The same process applies to everyone. There is no one that's been said that nobody gets anything different.
And I'm not saying from anyone here. I'm saying from anyone above.
The probationary officer
Makes the decision?
and that's at the state level.
Okay.
That's not at the
Okay.
local level.
These kids are jumping in front of our cars. Jumped in front of mine. The police had them pulled over. For that very reason, probably 10 to 15 of them. I pulled out. They jumped in front of my car, in front of the police. They are disrespecting these officers. I've seen them yell at them, swear at them. How humiliating that they have to take that. And I don't want to pit this town against the police against the citizens. It's not the way it should be. So I would expect some answers very soon, or you're going to see people in this town take care of it themselves. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Kurt Pease, and I am a citizen of Fairfield. So apparently, we have parole officials telling the police officers when they can charge and when they can't be charged, and when they can arrest and so on. Is that what I understood?
Excuse me, Michelle, can I speak, please?
Just for clarification purposes, because we're not in a debate, but yeah.
No.
I just want to make sure I understood
Well,
that
people are
correctly.
clear.
Okay, so the warnings, when I say we've given warnings, I'm not saying multiple warnings to each person. Some of the laws, we have to give a warning to that person before we can charge them.
Okay.
Okay? So generally, it's one warning, then we can charge them.
Okay.
The probation officer does not decide when we charge
Okay.
or arrest. I can arrest for, if it's arrestable offense. However, once we do that, the juvenile probation officer decides what's going to happen from there.
Okay, can I get the name of the juvenile probation officer, please?
This area is Russ McMahon.
Okay.
Correct.
Russell. Because clearly these kids know that nothing's going to happen to them. Or very little, if anything, is going to happen to them, because this goes on day after day after day. I want to know who's going to start taking the lead on this immediately. What can you all do to assist with this situation? Because we have other resources that have made themselves available to us, and I will pursue those if I have to, because this is going to stop. There's no need of the citizens of this town being terrorized by these half-dozen kids. And I don't want to hear any more about, we don't want to do anything to affect their future. I don't care about their future. They're terrorizing the citizens of this town in the present. It goes on every day. And I don't want to hear any more about, well, we don't want to arrest them, or we don't want to have any affect their future. They're making the choice to affect their future. It takes absolutely zero effort to not commit a crime. These kids are willingly choosing to do that, and everybody in this room knows it. I'm going to leave my phone number with whomever here would like to take it, and I want to know when I'm going to get a call back as to when we're going to have some answers. Because this is over with, starting tonight. And I understand you guys have a hard job to do. I totally support that. But these kids know anytime they walk by somebody's house, they can do basically whatever they want to do, and they flip you guys off, and they know nothing's going to happen to them. So I'm here constantly, well, our hands are tied. No. To us that have to deal with these kids on a daily basis, we support you, but these guys need some help. You all are the elected officials of this town. You can't tell me that there's nothing that you can do. How many more times do we have to come here and make the same request over and over again? I just want a number, so we can meet that number, and then we can either get these kids off the street, because I assure you, if they wake up in a square room where they're told when they can eat, when they can get up, when they can do this, and when they can do that, they might have a little change of outlook on things. Kids today are so desensitized because there's no fear of authority. We need to make them fear authority again and respect authority. And it starts by the first time that you have the opportunity to take them away in handcuffs and put them in one of those rooms. Maybe something will snap and the rest of them will catch on and say, well, that looked unpleasant and I don't want to have to do that either. So I would like to know when I'm going to get a call back from somebody.
Not a debate tonight.
It can't-
We don't,
Okay,
we
that's all
don't know what
right.
that answer is for you.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay.
I wish we did.
That's
We'd
okay.
do
I'll
something.
follow up on my own. I know where to find everybody,
I will
too.
provide the number you gave me to Police Chief Gould. He's back
Okay.
in the office next Monday.
Okay, very good. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you for listening to me, and this stops right now. We're taking this town back, and we're not playing around. And I'll tell you one more incident that happened up in the park. One or several of them was firing some kind of gun at people a couple weeks ago. They're going to fire something at the wrong person, and that person's going to fire back. You have this look of, can't believe what I'm hearing on your face.
Yeah.
Trust me, I hear it, I know what's happened, I live near the park. And don't take that as some idle threat from me, I'm just telling you, the wrong person is going to get fired at by for whatever weapon they choose, whether it's a BB gun, a little dart gun or whatever, and somebody's going to fire back. And then you're going to have injured or dead teenagers on your hands where you shouldn't. So if their futures mean anything to anybody here, then we might want to get in front of them and say, okay, knock it off. The citizens are serious now. And take me at my word when I say that. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment?
Good evening. My name is Robert Cezak. I live here in Fairfield on Bunker Avenue. I'm also your county commissioner, so I get to hear some of these complaints from the people as well. And I've heard a number of them. So today I did take the time and I spoke with our County Sheriff Lancaster, and he confirms what Captain Sanamon had to say. The juvenile probation officers do intervene, they have the say. I didn't stop with that. I also was able to buttonhole Governor Mills. I asked her about the same thing. She said that it ultimately goes to the district attorney's office, and the district attorney has the final say. Again, that's what Captain Sanamon has just said this evening. So the immediate action would be for the people to call the district attorney's office and speak with them. They do have that say. Other than that, if there's anything I can do to help with youth intervention and youth engagement, please let me know. My phone number is on the county website, so you can contact me that way. So thank you for your time. Appreciate all the work you do, and especially appreciate our officers. They are in a hard spot, and we do appreciate your work. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else?
So folks are aware the district attorney's phone number is on the Somerset County website.
That is correct.
And we can get you the information for the probation officer for juveniles. Contact your legislators. Help us do anything we can. Like we said, we hear you, we understand. And while some of us do go home out of town, your counselors still live in this community. They still live here in town. A lot of your officers still live here in town. A lot of the staff that work for this town lives here in this town. So everyone is just committed to this as you are. We understand. We do appreciate your frustration. But again, the district attorney's phone number is on the county website.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, there being none, then I will declare this closed. Now we'll move to our fourth order of business, which is reports from staff and committees. Town manager report.
Wait just 1 second. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you all.
Okay. So on September 6th, I attended the Economic Community Development Committee meeting, which I'm sure Councilor Thibodeau will report to you on. September 14th, which was this morning, I attended Central Maine Growth Council's Board of Directors meeting. We have been working on updating the wish list packets that you have. So tonight you were given a separate packet. It wasn't part of your meeting packet, but it's an update on our capital reserve accounts as of this warrant. There are a few components missing. We're waiting on the TIF numbers from the tax assessor for this year's TIF distributions, as well as the staff. Some of the staff have been able to go through, put their requests in order. That's still a work in progress. We'll have some more stuff for you, but that will at least get you started with those capital numbers and the library trust fund numbers. And then, let's see, what else is going on? We've been working to find the vendor to replacements of our decorative streetlights on Main Street. So we've had 2 accidents within the last year that have used our 2 remaining backups. So you can find all kinds that are close, but not quite the same. So we're still searching all over the place for those. Or we may have to come back to you with a different plan, or maybe we eliminate some, because if we have one more accident that snaps one of those off, we do not have a light to replace that with. And then we're also continuing to work on union negotiations with the fire department. Those continue. And then the other thing I wanted to do is to let you know, Lawrence Higgins, a resident here in Fairfield as well as a planning board member, stopped by yesterday to drop off this plaque. Evidently, he received it on September 11th of 2022 this year from Defend Our Health, which is Solutions for a Toxic-Free Tomorrow. The Fairfield Water Concerned Citizens received a Grassroots Leadership Award. It says, in recognition of and appreciation for outstanding and inspiring determination, honesty, and courage, even in the face of personal risk and adversity, in standing up to and doing the right thing. In standing up and doing the right thing for the health of children and families across Maine and America. So, and this has to do a lot, I believe, with their work that they did with the Maine State Legislature last year. I didn't have the opportunity to speak with Lawrence. He dropped this with the code enforcement officer yesterday. But he wanted to make sure that the town council was aware of this and that residents of this community have been recognized. And then about displaying this plaque, which I think it was suggested whether or not it be done at the town office or here at the community center, because while Lawrence Higgins did receive it, he also recognized the fact that he is not the group as a whole. So to put it somewhere for all of the community to be able to see. And that is it for me.
Okay. Committee reports.
Well, the Economic and Community Development Committee met at the beginning of the month, and we basically talked about 2 things: Mill Island Park and Trail Day. So for Mill Island Park, we're narrowing down our process of getting that first draft done.
Right.
And it's going to involve public input. And it's going to also involve the public going down to Mill Island, taking a walkabout, and coming up with suggestions for us. When we meet in October, we're going to iron out the details, and hopefully our meeting will be down at Mill Island so that we can see the new island without all the brush and do some really good planning. The second item on the agenda was Trail Day. We have never had a grand opening for Cattail Trail down by the Powell Fields. That's right next to the track, high school track. And so we decided that we would have Trail Day coincide with National Trail Day, which is the first Saturday in June. And we'll be ironing out the details as time goes on.
Cool.
So, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Actually, you did in fact have a grand opening for Trails Day, and we actually had a proclamation, and I'll pull that history up for you.
Thank you.
You're
I'd
welcome.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. Okay, any other committee reports? All right, there being none, we move on to the 5th order of business, which is the consent agenda. Now, these items are considered routine or standard business and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered next on the agenda. All right, we'll move on. For that is item 22-101, order that the town of Fairfield hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes for meeting 2022-14 held on August 24th, 2022. Item 22-102, ordered that the town council hereby approves the treasurer's warrant number 58, general fund, in the amount of $797,930.34. This is not limited to, but including U.S. Bank Corp., MSAD 49, and mainly paving.
So moved. Second.
Any discussions? All in favor? Motion carries. Moving to sixth order of business. To take action on the following items of business as read by Council Chair. Ordered that the Town Council hereby adopts amendments as presented to the Public Safety Ordinance.
Second.
Discussion, questions? No? There being none? All in favor? Item 22-104. Ordered that the Town Council hereby repeals the solid waste ordinance due to the discontinued contract with the Penobscot Energy Recovery Company, or PERC.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Ordered that the Town Council hereby adopts amendments as presented to the General Assistance Ordinance, appendices.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or concerns or nothing? All in favor? Item 22-106, ordered that the Town Council hereby amends the Town Council Administrative Policy Fee Schedule, Police Department, as presented to include fees and fines previously addressed in the Public Safety Ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, concerns, or? Nope. All right, everybody, all in favor? Item 22-107, ordered that the Town Council hereby selects a voting delegate and alternative voting delegate to represent the Town of Fairfield for the October 5th, 2022 Maine Municipal Association Annual Business Meeting.
So moved. Second.
Okay.
I'm going, I'm not sure if anybody else is going to convention. And I don't think any of the counselors have signed up to go to convention.
And it's up in Bangor.
It's in Bangor this year. I'm going because I'm part of the panel discussing PFAS on
Right.
Thursday.
It's
Right.
Wednesday.
Yep.
It's Wednesday and Thursday. Right?
Yeah.
And that, I think that was the only thing that
So
interested
Wednesday, the
me.
5th is the meeting. I know I'm going on the 6th, and I was debating whether or not I was going to go on the 5th. So basically, this is, you vote the minutes from last year's annual business meeting, and any major changes that could be coming up, like bylaws or that kind of stuff, and I'm not even aware of any, actually.
Right, I didn't see anything on there.
I wasn't sure if any of you were going.
Unfortunately, being preoccupied, I can't go.
I think you should go.
Just a minute.
You could sign
She's
me
gotta
up
check her
and
schedule.
Stephanie up as the alternate,
I
and
may
then
be
if
able
we
to go as well.
go, we
I'll
go.
I can take a look.
And you can go to
that
the
what
annual
Wednesdays?
business meeting without actually signing up for the entire event, right? So you
Yes,
can go
which
to the
I've
annual
done.
business meeting,
Right.
you can see the vendors, and not actually have to pay for any, because you're not going to attend any of the trainings, you're not going to have the meals, you're not going to have any of that stuff. I think it's $100 this year. I'd have to double check.
It is October 5th, right?
Yes.
5th is when the annual meeting is, yes.
Well, other than it being Yom Kippur. Oh, sorry.
Yom Kippur.
There's nothing else on the calendar.
Pretty important Jewish holiday.
However, it is a Wednesday, and I'm usually preoccupied on Wednesdays, so.
Okay, Matt said he would
I'll
check.
take a look at my calendar. Can't remember if that
You have a
day's.
motion on the table.
Forward.
Can you look at your calendar now?
I do not have it available.
It's fine. So you can appoint me, and we can always change it if we have to, right?
Yes.
So, and we can finalize it tomorrow too, if you want to. So appoint me and an alternate to be determined tomorrow.
Town manager is a delegate, and we'll put Matt as
The alternate
the alternate.
at this point.
I
Yes,
can inform you within 24 hours.
It's no problem.
Okay.
All right.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, we had a
You
second.
had a first and a second.
Second.
Oh, okay, okay.
Friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Carries full. All right. Item 22-108. Ordered that the town council hereby votes to approve funds up to the amount of $16,700 for brush removal to be expended from the downtown TIF district account.
So moved.
Second.
That would be the brush that's being removed at the
Not,
park.
well, the park has been approved for $25,000.
Okay.
And this is to finish off the brush from the bridge to the furthest end of the parking lot
Gotcha.
here.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and the goal is, so we believe the original $25,000 that was used for Mill Island, there will be some money left
Some will go,
of
yep.
that. So that would use that and then go up to the 16 for the other pieces. However, I was made aware yesterday, there's 2 trees down there that we were not planning on cutting, that we went down and took a look at. They're both ash trees, and they're half dead. So because of the fact that we are now within the hotspot for the emerald ash borer at the park, I've told them to go ahead and just cut those trees. We've photographed them, documented them,
Yep.
but we need to get them out of there so that we don't end up bringing in that pest. So, if it's not already in the tree, but I don't know.
Michelle, what are they doing with all the brush? Other,
It
the
is-
stuff that's not chipped?
So the stuff that's not chipped, so the wood itself, if it's, like, so there's a pile right now in the park, that will be removed and that will go to Public Works. Most of what's in the park that you see in the pile, those are trees that have fallen, right? Because we didn't cut anything that was more
Right.
than 4 inches. And the reason for that is that this piece of equipment, I'm surprised it's not already on the wish list for Public Works, but it's one of those giant grinders.
Yep.
So the trees get ground in spot, in place, and then the chips stay right there, and that's what helps with the regrowth from prevent the regrowth from
So
coming back.
even all the brush is being chipped?
Everything.
Everything's
It's all right
Oh.
there. So, and then the larger stuff, usually what happens is Public Works will oftentimes, they can have a stockpile for, if there's anything that's good that could be used for firewood, for folks that we have in need. So sometimes we'll have general assistance clients that have a wood stove, so they'll be able to have that, or it'll just go to the brush dump.
Thanks. It is amazing. And if you haven't been down there to look at it, by all means, Mill Island Park looks very different right now, and it's for the best.
Okay. All in favor? Carries full. Moving to the 7th order of business, which is council workshop and other business. Discuss other council business. We'll start, we can start with Stephanie.
Well, I'm going to go back to the beginning of our meeting, and I really think that the situation with the juveniles is critical. I don't like what's going on, as many other people don't. And I feel that as a community, there should be more organization. We should be meeting with all the stakeholders involved, which would be law enforcement, the parents, the schools, the youth themselves, businesses. Nobody said anything about businesses being affected. I'd like to know if they are. We should have some religious people also involved for their insight. And I really think we should have a designated community meeting as a part of our workshop. And it's the only thing that it's dedicated to. And the sooner the better. So that's what I would like to see happening.
Yep.
And I know we've got a pretty heavy schedule for the end of the month, so I would like to see something the first meeting in October.
Mr. Cooper? You're good? Yeah, one of the things that wasn't brought up, and I didn't really want to, at that point in time, this unfortunately is not happening just in our community. It is happening, I know it's happening in Waterville, I know it's happening, you know, all kinds of different places and stuff like that, that this whole thing, and it's has to do, I think, with the way to, you know, the stuff that's out there on the TVs and the programs and what these kids are learning and stuff like that. I agree. You know, it's out of control. I don't know, something that has to be done.
There's always going to be that gang mentality. It's been around forever.
Right, but not as bad as it is right now.
But we are also, I'm not making excuses for the pandemic. There has to be communication with the schools. It can't just be a law enforcement situation.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
And we need to come together as a community to do some problem solving and see what we can do. And get, you know, we've got the evidence already being gathered. But I feel so badly for these people that feel unsafe in their own community. And what's going to happen next? We're just playing with fire if we don't do anything.
I agree.
So I would like to see us dedicate the first workshop in October just to address this situation and not have it be a complain and moan session, but actually see what we could do proactively to remedy some of this stress that people are feeling.
Right, well, and we really need to bring the police into that situation because they're the ones that have to deal with that every single day.
You're right, right. But, you know, we're just 5 people here. And I don't know whatever happened to the neighborhood watch that was talked about at the last time.
Well, I do know that they are putting up cameras in their area. We've got cameras, of course, over at Mill Island now.
Right.
But they're putting up cameras on the streets.
But that's just one part.
Things like, you know, right, but they're putting up cameras on the streets, and we were having some problems and stuff like that. They've got cameras up at the gazebo now.
I know.
And
yeah. But it's one thing to do that. What do you do after you see it? And if you have,
go get them.
I know, people that continually abuse the property of others and threaten, you know?
Yep.
Maybe we need the DA in here, too, to talk to us.
Unfortunately, this is probably going to escalate to the point where we'll find one of these kids in a hospital somewhere.
Well, they've already beaten up on some people.
Right, but the citizens, if things continue going the way they're going, and the current social climate that we have at the moment, I would not be shocked to find that happens.
Well, in the meantime,
they're going to get to a point where the average citizen is like, that's enough, I'm not putting up with it anymore. And these kids are pushing it to that point. It's going to be unfortunate, it's going to be a very sad event, but with these things, without some intervention, they're going to push people to the point.
So do you agree that it's time to do something for intervention as a community, Mike?
As a community, as a board, we are bound by statute and the legal system. Short of promoting a neighborhood watch for people to come out and be around in the areas at night, we don't have a leg to stand on. We are a board of policy. We set policy.
Right.
We don't.
But we can also support initiative.
We can support initiative, yes, but as a board, our hands are basically tied as to what we can do.
Well, I still think that there are things that we can do as elected officials to help remedy the situation.
I would be more than happy to take any idea you may have. What would you suggest? I'd be more than happy to try to come up with something, if you could point me in the direction.
We could establish an advisory group to help the citizens.
To do what? Give me something substantive.
So I was going to wait for make my comments, but I think your idea actually of getting the stakeholders together is a really big thing. And I think I've talked about this previously at our Economic Development Committee meeting, because this issue is going to affect business. And so we were bringing about there, and actually talked to Michelle at that point about and how the police had their hands tied a little bit, and how that wasn't really known. So I was waiting for tonight's meeting for people to have a chance to talk about and hear about that. But leapfrogging from that is the fact that having a stakeholder meeting, getting the DA here, getting the probationary officer here, having that discussion, hearing it from them in person, I think is really important. Have us be able to help facilitate that kind of meeting is really important. That's where, while we may just set policy and try to give guidance, the one thing we can do, I think there was almost like looking at us like we're going to go out there and become the neighborhood watch ourselves and or the guardians. That's not our role, unfortunately. And I know that that's with law enforcement, and that's where we're going to keep it. But at the same time, we can help facilitate meetings to really help move this along and show to the DA how this is affecting people, showing to the probationary officer and their bosses how this is affecting this town, how it's affecting people. People, I mean, you should be able to be safe in your home. You should be able to be safe that you're not going to have things stolen. You should be able to not have PTSD from hearing any kind of noise outside your house. That's just has gone to, and it, just what Mike said, and it was brought up here earlier, there is going to be an unfortunate accident at some point. And that's going to be a really stupid decision by a person in town, because they're going to affect their lives as well. However, I don't blame them, because at some point you're going to get pushed too far and then you're going to snap. And that is going to happen, and I want to prevent this from happening. So I think having a stakeholder meeting, as soon as possible, just like you said, Stephanie, is a really good first step that we can actually help in this and move this along.
So Michelle, would that be something you reach out to those two people?
I think others.
Invite them to the next.
I think there's probably a couple, like you could look at the school, because you've also mentioned the school as well.
Officer.
Yep, and try to facilitate something for your workshop piece of your meeting, your first meeting in October. And that'll give us a bit of time to try to pull some of that stuff together. I can do that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. The next regular meeting of Fairfield Town Council will be on Wednesday, September 28, 2022, to be held as a hybrid meeting via Zoom in council chambers, 6:30 a.m. At this time, we will recess and sign all documents that required signatures of council members.
And I'll just make one quick statement, because we were kind of working on this. I also want to talk about the ATSDR. I think that's a big step for having their involvement here and actually getting some of the stories and starting to put some of this information together in a meaningful way on PFAS so we can move forward. I think there's information all over the place. I think solidifying and local centralizing it, kind of heading along with this document can really give us a leg to stand on moving forward. So that's I'm glad we were making this move. So well done.
Yep. Okay. And we're in recess.
I need a motion and a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. We are there.